We're working. How are we?
So natural.
I know, right? We didn't have any technical problems whatsoever.
Yeah, very well, thanks. Yeah, how about yourself?
I'm good as well, thanks. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all well. We have a lovely guest here that I would love to introduce to y'all. But I thought it would be good to maybe have you introduce yourself and what you do and how you got to where you are right now. So Nick, take it away.
So my name's Nick Brodie. I am a visual artist, a lens-based artist, and I suppose I got to where I am now. To begin with, I suppose in the story, uh, 2016, I first picked up my mum's analog camera, and I first started taking black and white film photography shots. I did that for about 2 or 3 years, and kind of developed sorts of ideas. I developed my skills with photography. I became a member of Photo Fusion Photography Club in Brixton, and yeah, from there it kind of blossomed into I kept going and kept experimenting and went to art school. And in a nutshell, that's kind of me here now.
Yeah, I've seen some amazing chair skills going on. It is incredible. You guys should definitely go and check it out. But it's a beautiful chair. And being able to see the process as well, like while you were posting it on Instagram, it was really cool to be like, oh wow, there's the final product there and then, from seeing it from sketches. What's the software that you use to make it actually?
SketchUp.
SketchUp, okay. Because
Yeah,
I've heard friends of mine that do like jewelry design, they use, I think it's called Rhino.
okay.
But I think, yes, I've heard
Right.
of that one. Oh, so good, so good. Considering that you were mentioning experimenting and doing all this kind of thing, what inspires you to try out all these different materials and like even I don't want to say products, obviously like a chair is one example, but then you also did sculpture like the cigarette butts, which I love. I love that project.
Thanks. Um, so I suppose to answer that, it's best to explain my conceptual framework for my practice, so how I start out, and that works because I start by going into an urban area or a city and basically just documenting my time there as an outsider. I collect objects, cigarette butts, for instance, detritus, take lots of photographs and take lots of audio recordings as well. Um, and so from there, I've got all these I think of them as ingredients, and these ingredients is what I then make my artwork from. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how it kind of works out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really cool. Especially, like, what is it about objects that you're drawn to?
I think it's the everyday, it's the mundane. I really love um, these everyday moments people have to themselves in a city or a place, whereby it's this kind of like almost mundane domestic privacy that we have, whether it's taking a fag break, or I don't know, just waiting inside the archway of a shop to stop, just to get a bit of shelter before the rain, before the rain stops. Um, so for me, it's just all about exploring those kind of little moments, and we kind of see them as insignificant every day. We don't really think about them, but I think these moments are really interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. A friend of mine actually, her final year project last year was to do with a similar topic with like objects and why certain things are important to certain people because of the memories. It's all about what the feeling that they have when they hold it, or the significance of it in a certain moment. Exactly as you say, you just kind of take it for granted. You're like, oh, we have these things, but they are, yeah, hugely impactful. So brilliant. I love that. Really, really cool. Do you feel like these objects help you get through difficult times like you mentioned before? Have you found that, especially during coronavirus that we're going through right now, have there been certain objects or certain things that have helped you get through those difficult times?
Oh, massively, yeah. You talked about it with the chair, you brought that up, and it's, for me, that is very much what I've used to anchor myself to reality and sanity, and just not getting too bogged down with how uncomfortable and unpredictable society is at the moment and how life is. So for me, it was obviously being in lockdown meant I had to change my art practice pretty significantly, because I could no longer walk out and document. I could go around cities and explore them. So it was no longer about other people; it's about myself. And in order to create artwork for me, during that time, I had to be careful not to be too inwards, too examining of my own self, because I believe it's a very fragile state, a very fragile thing to look after. So to be that introspective when all you could do is be inside your house would have been killer for me. I would have been really depressed. So I decided to make a chair, and using fixed measurements, and measurements all had to be as close as I could to get them as similar to as I could. It meant that everything had a beginning and an end. A measurement has a beginning and an end. Sorry. So for me, engaging with that side of those parameters and engaging with that kind of definitiveness was really helpful, considering we're living in a time of complete uncertainty and of difficulty, and like we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. So
Yeah, it's the fact that it's literally completely out of our control. So it's interesting that you created this project that has that control, that you're able to discern, be like, this is the size, like it has to be this, otherwise it just won't function. I guess it's just trying to regain that sense of control of life again, that hopefully that comes back soon.
Normality would be nice, for sure. It's great time.
You mentioned as well that you're back home, and how have you found working from home, doing what you want to do in the space that you have rather than taking it out into a studio or something? Did you have a studio before, actually?
Because I went to art school, I graduated in 2019 last year, so I had a studio there. But to be honest, I never really spent much time in the studio. I spent most of my time on the streets, I suppose. For a lot of art school, I spent a lot of time just sat on these benches outside Overgate Shopping Centre in Dundee, and I sat there for maybe 1 or 2 hours every other day, and it was just a case of like having my lunch there and just listening to what was going on around me, and listening to conversations, letting everything just kind of flow over you, and to kind of get a sense of where you were, and the sights, and seeing what was happening in front of you. So being back at home has been, as I said, I've had to change my art practice quite considerably. It's meant none of this kind of outdoor time, and it's made me readdress what I do.
Oh, so interesting. I love that you're just so involved in life, that you're just right in there. I love sitting in cafes and doing the same thing, just like sitting and just absorbing what's going on around you. Just, do you think you have a creative process?
I mean, the process is kind of just putting myself in a place I've never been before a lot of the time, being the outsider, and well, and the actual creation process is heavily influenced by the feel that I get from being in that place. Like in London, I spent lots of time shooting black and white, and it felt enough to shoot black and white because I felt like it was as a form, as a medium of art, black and white kind of strips away all the noise of color and the faff, and what feels like, I always felt like London personally felt so very like chaotic, and there's a lot of kind of, yeah, I felt like as a city it needed to be stripped back to its bones, and to kind of see what it really is. I felt so that using that black and white really worked for me, really to look at the shapes of the place. Um, but when I came to Dundee to study and made my art project on Dundee, obviously black and white is not the right kind of form to use, because to strip away anything from Dundee just feels wrong as a place that's kind of up and coming. I suppose it's changing, developing. It traditionally hasn't had a lot of wealth in the past. So a lot of my artworks were kind of more about kind of seeing the beauty, I suppose, and the value in so much that we have taken, a lot is taken for granted and not recognized. And I feel like that was really, really visible in Dundee. And yeah, so it didn't feel like there was so much noise going on in that place. It felt like there was a lot of, I felt like there was quite a lot of authenticity, actually, but that's something I have to argue and discuss.
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting city, that's for sure, Dundee.
Yeah, massively.
Was there any particular reason why you decided to go to Dundee, particularly to do your master's, or was it more of like they do a really good course and I'd be keen to like develop it more?
Yeah, I did a really good course, and I didn't really know much about the place until I visited, and so yeah, but yeah, so that's pretty much it, to be honest.
From seeing a lot of your work, it's very widespread, like loads and loads of different mediums that you prefer to use. But do you think after lockdown that there's a particular medium that you think you'll push more towards, or are you still very keen to just go all out, try different things?
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually. I see being an artist as like a marathon. I'm here for the long haul, and by trying lots of different things, I'm kind of just trying lots of things is really important to me. I don't know. It's kind of strange because I like photography, but I feel like it doesn't convey enough, and I feel like we're so image saturated at the moment that it's no longer enough to take a photograph. It doesn't doesn't quite cut it enough for me. And for me as well, it's the more involved with my hands I can get, kind of the better. So yeah, it's
More hands, less digitalness.
yeah. Well, I mean, it just feels like the right tool for the right job. That's the way I kind of see it at the moment as well. I don't really consider myself as too much as one thing at the moment.
Mm-hmm. How for those that are maybe thinking about going into the creative world, as an artist, what would you say is the best thing that they can do for starting out just now?
I mean, first of all, good luck, because this is probably the worst time to start out in so many ways. This is a really, really hard time, desperate time, I think, to be an artist. There's so few opportunities out there at the moment, and so much competition because of that. So I would say is without trying to be too negative about all this, is just to kind of be prepared for a lot of rejection. If maybe don't worry about getting your work kind of seen by lots of people. I really just enjoy the actual making of it, and just keep just keep going, and don't be put off, I suppose, by people that don't quite understand your work or getting rejections. Yeah, it's not an easy time.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's even in the design industry as well. Like, I think all of the creative industries is slowly just going downhill right now. It's hard to like see the future of what the creative industries is going to look like after lockdown because of the lack of money now, like finance to cover those that maybe use studios, those that are working for businesses doing commissions and things like this. Like loads of people are keeping their cards close to their chest and they're not wanting to go out and find these artists to do these kind of different things that they're looking for. It's not great. It's not great.
Just prepare for the lifestyle that comes with it, because I think it's really overrated, the idea of the struggling artist. You know, like I work my day job. I'm on furlough at the moment, but I work in a supermarket where I get paid very little. But it gives me the flexibility with to do what I want to do. But it just means I don't go on holiday. I pretty much work to live. I work to do my art, a lot of it. So yeah, good luck.
Good luck, guys. You're going into the right industry.
People will graduate this year, actually, because it's because of the lack of opportunity out there. So yeah.
Well, thank you for just being straight up honest. It is not an easy industry to be a part of, for sure.
At the moment, so
yeah. But the final thing I'd like to ask is if you have anything in particular that you feel the creative industries should consider more or talk about.
I feel like any kind of message I would have to the creative industries that they should talk about more would probably be lost in this maelstrom of like what is going on and everyone readjusting to reality right now. So it's a tough, like, I think to me what's kind of more important would be to, because I was thinking about it, it's more important to address the fact that this whole idea of the like depression and being an artist, and how I feel like that might be kind of a little bit glamorized, this idea that to suffer is all part of your artwork. But in my experience, depression and poor mental health leads to everything shutting down, leads to work completely grinding to a halt, and basically a lot of desperation in that way. So I'd say, and it's an industry which is kind of being an artist kind of it creates like really incubates like these feelings, and it's quite an easy. So I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this, but it's quite, you have to be very introspective, I think, to be an artist and to think things through a lot. So what I would say is looking after your mental health, being as an artist, is topmost priority, and I know it's not easy at all, but it's something I feel like people should know about us and what we do and being creative, is that it kind of goes hand in hand, and it certainly isn't easy. So.
Yeah, it's hard, and I think more people are starting to talk more about their mental health now, and I think we as people are trying to be better in how we can help. Jobs now, they have like the benefits of, obviously, I mean, they had that before, like the benefits of why you should take this job, or you can take this time off, you can like we go out for drinks and things like after work, all of these kind of more calming benefits to why you should take the job, purely because of people standing out and saying, like, I have mental health issues during lockdown, especially, that more people have turned to arts and crafts as a way of helping their mental health get better. So that's super encouraging. But yeah, it would be nice if we had some more funding, that people took us a little more seriously.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
in that case, thank you very much for coming on here and for chatting and being open. I very, very appreciate that, because I know it's not the easiest thing to do. So thank you for that. And do you have any nice plans for the rest of the week?
Yeah, well, I made a table for my brother, so I'm going to deliver that with my dad on Saturday, and I'm going to see
Oh,
my baby, my niece and nephew. Sorry, he's 3 years old, and yeah, I haven't seen him since the lockdown started. So we're obviously going to be like socially distancing, but it would be so nice to see him,
yeah.
my brother again.
Oh, so good. Well, I hope you have the nicest time then, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Cheers, you too. All right.
Bye.